Fire trucks and personnel are still in the area. They've been able to shift their focus from responding to flare-ups and helping with damage assessment, that kind of thing. As I said yesterday, our priority is to get residents back into their homes. To that end, we are reopening many parts of Superior and Louisville this afternoon. Maps of those reopenings and the areas that won't be reopened will be available on the Boulder County OEM website, www.boulderoem.com. Additionally, we posted a list of damaged and destroyed structures. That list will be posted this afternoon. By the end of the day, I hope. It's continued to be refined, but it's also at the Boulder OEM website. I know that this information is going to be good news for some and horrible for others. I'd like to thank the staff that have been working so hard to make sure we have an accurate accounting of damaged and destroyed residential structures. Currently, the count for these structures, it's not final, but it's very close to final. In the city of Louisville, 553 destroyed homes, 45 damaged homes. In the town of Superior, 332 destroyed homes, 60 damaged. And in unincorporated Boulder County, west of Superior, back towards Marshall and Elmore Springs, another 106 destroyed homes and 22 damaged. Totals confirmed so far to date and continue to be refined then are 991 structures destroyed and 127 structures damaged. So, different than yesterday, we currently have 3 reported missing persons, 2 in the area of Superior and 1 in the Marshall area. We unfortunately believe these are going to turn into recovery cases. We're calling in cadaver dogs and search teams to help us with an effort tomorrow. The structures where these folks would be are completely destroyed and covered with about 8 inches of snow right now. So our ability to attempt to search and recover from those structures is pretty much impeded right now. But we hope that within the next couple of days, we can help families and perhaps recover remains or confirm that they're not there. We anticipated that would likely be the case when we saw what was happening. We're very fortunate that we don't have a list of 100 missing. But unfortunately, we do have 3 confirmed missing people. One missing person that was reported yesterday, and that person was located. Operations are put into progress this afternoon to check properties of the 2 or 3 that continue to remain unaccounted for. Weather and structure damage are going to make that difficult. In addition, investigators continue to work on determining the origin of the fire and the cause. We continue to investigate all the reports of downed power lines in the area. Each of those dips are being investigated. As of yesterday evening, we have found no credible evidence of a power line down in that area. We did find evidence of telecom lines down in that area, which could have caused reports of downed lines, but which would not have caused a fire. We have a number of tips we're working on. We've executed a search warrant on one particular location where we're investigating. I don't have any hard or credible evidence. I don't have probable cause to understand what caused the fire. As soon as we have credible, hard information, we will be releasing it. Just please know that there's a very active investigation ongoing with the Sheriff's Office and the help of federal and state partners. With regard to donations and the interest of volunteering, we appreciate the generosity of our community. It's been unbelievable. Please do not take donated items or go to the shelters to volunteer. They're being overrun. If you want to help or you want to donate, please visit the Community Foundation of Boulder County at www.comfound.org. If If you want to volunteer, please continue to check with the OEM on our website, and they'll be posted there. I'm going to turn the podium over now to Chief Dave Hayes from the City of Louisville. And when Dave's done speaking, we'll take questions.
We take 1 second, the audio is not very clear.
We're having an issue with that.
Good afternoon. I'm Dave Hayes. I'm the police chief in Louisville. Thank you, Sheriff, for the introduction. Beginning on January 1st or today, about 1 o'clock, all areas currently under pre-evacuation will be lifted in the city of Louisville. Some residents within the Marshall Fire area in the city of Louisville will be allowed to return to their homes. Your home is in a hard closure area, in other words, an area that's just simply closed. You will not be allowed to return home at this time. Roads included in the hard closure will be also on the OEM website. If your home is within a soft closure area in the city of Louisville, an ID will be required for re-entry. Roads included in the soft closure area will also be listed and posted on the OEM website. Residents that can return should plan on assessing the area from the east. Please be patient, as lines can be long at the checkpoints. In terms of the ID cards, this is something that, in addition to everything else we're trying to put together, I don't know that we're going to have ID cards available before Monday or Tuesday, but in the meantime, for those soft areas, folks that just need to have a driver's license or utility bill or something that would tie them to that address in Louisville, once we've got an ID card system in place, we'll get that information out as well. Officials continue to assess conditions in the community that will allow for re-entry of residents as soon as it is safe. It is important to remember that fire may have changed the environment around your home and community, so please be cautious as you return to your home and neighborhood. Also, please be prepared to see your community change in ways that you did not expect, and take the time if you need it. Here are some things to consider when returning home. When returning home and traveling through the area, residents are asked to slow their speeds and be alert to hazards such as weakened trees and structures. Residents are asked to limit driving to daylight hours only, to go directly to their homes and remain in and around their home. Burned structures can also have many hazards in and around them. Please be aware of ash pits, holes, sharp objects, such as well as areas that are still burning or smoldering in the structure. Snow may be covering hazards, including areas that are still hot. Please be sure where you are stepping and reaching are safe to prevent injury. Power may not be restored to some of these areas, and gas will not likely be turned on by the time residents start to return home. For those with electricity but no gas heat, Xcel Energy is distributing space heaters at the YMCA in Lafayette and the YMCA in Boulder. There's no potable water in the affected areas, so residents should be prepared to bring bottled water with them for all water needs, including for pets. Never use water that you think may be contaminated to wash dishes, brush teeth, prepare food, wash hands, make ice, or baby formula. For residents without heat, please consider turning off the main water line and draining the house water lines to prevent a potential flood. With the power outages, food in your refrigerator or freezer may be contaminated or spoiled. Dispose of any food that has been exposed to smoke, soot, or heat, or has been thawed. City of Louisville, and I think Boulder County as well, will start to place dumpsters in some of the affected areas. That also will be posted on the OEM website. We suggest that you not use personal trash cans for that. What that does is it simply just keeps the animals in the wrong place, and animals that shouldn't be at your house. As residents return to the fire area, if there are signs that their suspicious activity has occurred, please call the tip line at 303-441-3674. And if suspicious activity is occurring while you're there or at the same time, please call 911 or the non-emergency line to the Boulder Communications Center at 303-441-4444. And I'll step aside now so Sheriff Pelley can come back up again and see if you have any questions.
Step.
Oh, thank you.
So, for the media folks, I plan on meeting with you daily at 2 for the time being, because I think there's going to be interest in what's happening with recovery efforts and the investigation for a few days. So we'll just keep this time spot open, and probably this space, although once we open for business next week, we may have to move somewhere. We'll figure that out. We were having audio trouble a few minutes ago, so I'm going to repeat a couple things. First, I'm going to repeat the current count for damaged and destroyed structures. Apparently the audio wasn't good during that. So our current estimate, and I believe an estimate that's very close to being final, is that a total of 553 homes were destroyed in the city of Louisville and 45 were damaged. In the town of Superior, 332 homes were destroyed and 60 were damaged. And in unincorporated Boulder County, the areas outside of those town limits, 106 homes were destroyed and 22 damaged. That's a total of 991 structures destroyed and 127 structures damaged. I was also asked to repeat briefly about the investigation. We currently have not located down power lines. In the area, the reports were likely down telecommunication lines that we spoke about yesterday and not power lines. And secondly, we are actively investigating a number of tips that came in yesterday and last night from the community. One of those tips has resulted in us executing a search warrant on a property, and there are investigations underway and ongoing into the cause and origin of the fire. Do you have questions?
Sheriff, can you say, is the search warrant that you guys have, is it for the address of 5325 El Dorado?
I'm not going to confirm anything about locations or names or anything else until we have some more solid information.
And then have you guys, the video that's been circulating on social media, Twitter specifically, of the shed that was on fire, is that part of your investigation? What can you say about that?
It is.
Can you say, are you looking at illegal burning as potentially a cause of the wildfire?
We're looking at any cause of the wildfire.
Are there still active hotspots that you're worried about?
You know, I would say no, but I was driving home late last night in the snow and heard them dispatch on an apartment that recaught, you know, so there are still a lot of areas of heat in the burn zone, especially in the buildings themselves that burnt down. So I expect that we'll see smoke and maybe some rekindling for a period of a few days.
Are you starting to suspect arson or carelessness or recklessness?
We don't know. We're looking into the cause and origin of the fire, and if it turns out to be arson or reckless behavior with fire, we'll take appropriate actions. It was a red flag day, the day of the fire, so there shouldn't have been any burning of anything. And again, we had the reports of lines down, but we believe that maybe people were seeing telecom lines that hang under the power lines that were down, rather than the power lines themselves. So.
We've talked to a couple families who say they have submitted missing persons reports. Can you tell us how many missing persons reports you've received in the fire zones, how many people are believed to be missing, and how you guys are following up on those leads?
So to my knowledge, over the course of the last couple of days, we've received a total of 5. 2 of those were resolved. One was an elderly lady the very first night. One was an elderly lady yesterday. There are 3 unresolved. Their homes are destroyed. Potentially, there are human remains in those homes. The debris is hot. It's all fallen in, and it's now covered with 8 inches of snow. So search and recovery efforts are hampered substantially. What we're doing tomorrow is bringing in cadaver dogs to help investigators see if we can't pinpoint if in fact there are human remains, if we can't pinpoint where they would be and recover them safely. Right now, it's not even safe to step into the scene. We don't know what's underneath. We don't know about the heat or anything else. So I have suspected we would have loss of life just based on the size of this fire and the speed and the ferocity. I think it's miraculous that if it is 3, it was 3 and not 100 or hundreds. So I'm grateful for that, but I'm also extremely sorry for those families. I spoke to a granddaughter this morning, personally, friend of a friend, you know, kind of thing, who they're trying to find grandma, and we're trying to find grandma for her. But the conditions right now don't make that possible to do quickly.
Are the missing people in Louisville or Superior or unincorporated?
Chief, there's currently no missing people in Louisville, that's correct?
That's correct.
So no missing people in Louisville. There are 2 in Superior and 1 in the Marshall area.
Has the snow hindered the recovery efforts or slowed it down?
Well, so the snow is an awesome thing for fire, you know, fire behavior, and it's a hard thing for crime scenes and recovery efforts and damage assessments and all those things. So it's a mixed blessing.
Can you talk about what time evacuation orders went out to residents in Louisville? We've been hearing that some were not getting evacuation orders until their house was already on fire.
I would have to look into that for you. I don't have that information offhand.
Sheriff, do you have any kind of a ballpark estimate on when people will finally be allowed back in, when all evacuation orders will be lifted?
I don't. I know that is the #1 goal we've given the incident management team, is to return people to their homes as quickly as possible. Dave, do you have anything you want to add in regard to Louisville?
Just in terms of the notifications to Louisville, I know we worked with the Boulder Sheriff's Office. Oh, thank you. I know we worked with Boulder Sheriff's Office, the Communications Center, and a number of Everbridge or reverse 911 calls went out Thursday afternoon. So again, as the sheriff mentioned, we'll certainly look into that, but I know a number of them went out because I was directly involved in making sure that they went out with a member of the sheriff's staff. So now, and sometimes it's never enough time, sometimes it's not soon enough, but I know as we were getting reports about the fire, we continued to kind of broaden that reverse 911 calls that went out, and I know that a number of them did go out. And it's also not a perfect system. If you weren't already there, you may have had your cell phone plugged in, you may have had your home phone plugged in. It's just not a perfect system. So, yeah.
All right, I think that'll probably wrap stuff up. We'll meet back here at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Thanks.